a video about fermenting. So I collected some yeast using some grapes that I bought on the market. You just smash them up. There's a little bit of video on it. You just smash them up, leave them out, and they naturally start to ferment. And then I've tried to. So that's kind of worked, and I've collected some of that juice off there. It smells really yeasty at the moment, so that's kind of worked. And it'll carry on fermenting. It might need a little bit of sugar added into it at some point as the sugar in the grapes kind of turns it into alcohol. But we can slow that process down also by keeping it in the fridge, unfreezing it as well. So now that that works, I want to see what we can ferment with it. And I did try to ferment some the cooking liquor from some poached pears a few weeks back, and it didn't work. But it didn't work because the yeast that I used, I had some champagne yeast, had died. It was a little bit past its best, and it had died. So I was wondering if we can actually ferment the pear syrup still using some of this collected yeast. So that's the pear syrup, and then I've got this. That is the juice from tinned apples. So these tinned, oh, I don't want to knock anything over. So these tinned apples, you get apples and then you get some juice in with them as well, which I'll normally reduce down and then add back to the apples. But I was kind of thinking, I wonder if we could ferment that juice. So we're going to have a go at fermenting that. And then I bought some cheap apple juice from the supermarket. And I kind of thought, let's have a go at fermenting that as well. And it's apple juice from concentrate. So it's just, they juice the apples and then take all the liquid out of it and then reconstitute it later on. I think by evaporating out, well, by removing the water in the first place, it cuts down on the amount of storage, prolongs the shelf life. So if you can reduce something down to a fifth of its original weight, the transportation costs are extremely cut down because you can then transport a lot more, and you're not just transporting water, you're just transporting like a concentrated product. So all it says is it's just got water and concentrated apple juice. So we should be able to ferment that as well. So pretty straightforward. So that's the apple juice, and then if it works, what we'll do is we'll turn the. I'm not particularly interested in drinking the alcohols, but what we'll do is we'll see if the alcohols turn into vinegar over time, and also the yeast that collects at the bottom of the bottles. I'll turn into like a yeast extract, which I did a couple of weeks, which I did last week, 2 weeks ago, and that was lots of fun. That was delicious. So and I tried it with like brewer's yeast before, and it wasn't very nice. So it's maybe too much liquid in that one. We'll pour a little bit out of that. We'll give it a shake up and then pour some out, and then we'll collect the yeast once it's finished brewing, and we'll see if we can make some delicious marmite out of that. So pretty straightforward fermenting. Some of this yeast, or this yeasty liquid, a bit more in there, and then it should take a couple of days. And then we just need to put an airlock on it. Pretty straightforward. Airlock in, and then with some water in it, and then it just bubbles away until it's ready. And then when it stops bubbling, it's alcohol. I'm not going to test the specific gravity of the liquid beforehand, so I won't know kind of what percentage of alcohol we've got at the end. I just know it'll be a little bit alcoholic because it's natural yeast that we've collected. It's not anything. So I can't guarantee what strain of yeast that it is that's going to ferment these liquids. So it'll probably be about 6%, something like that. 6% alcohol, which is good for making vinegar, like a 6%. Anything higher than that, and the vinegar doesn't kind of really want to work as well. So 6% is pretty good anyway. And it's more about making vinegar, ceasing fermenting, and collecting the yeast. So there we go, pretty straightforward. We'll have a look at these again in another couple of days when they've started to ferment. Hopefully start to ferment. If they haven't, if they all haven't, fail. But if one of them hasn't, doesn't really matter. We'll just have a rethink and then have another go at it. So we have fermentation in the bought apple juice. You can see. You can also see my washing in the background. Is that what I wanted to focus on? But you can see the bubbles. The pear isn't just. I can't focus in. There's a few bubbles forming in the pear. That's the pear. P for pear. obviously. So there's a few bubbles forming. Doesn't kind of want to focus, you can't really see them. There's a few bubbles, so it might start fermenting over the next couple of days. But if it doesn't, I think what I'll do is I'll water it down. I'll put some water in, take some of the juice out and put some water in. I think it might be the concentration of sugar that's stopping it from fermenting. I might have to put a bit more of the grape juice in as well. And then that is the juice from the tinned apples, and it's starting to ferment. Where you can see the foam at the top, where bubbles are forming, and there's bubbles kind of travelling up. So, two are working, one a little bit, one quite a lot. So as the apple's working, or apple juice is working, I'm going to, I've got a 5 litre container. So we're going to, I bought some more apple juice. I'm going to pour that apple juice from there into there. So we've got a bigger container for the fermenting. So we'll make more cider, which will then turn into cider vinegar, and then we'll collect more yeast. So I just need to take that juice from there, pour it into there. It won't need any more the grape yeast in it. There should be enough. It'll just take a little. It'll just need to get going again, but that will be fine. So that's what we're going to do. I've made I've just burnt a hole in the top of the cap, just to put another airlock in. Or you can use a balloon with a small pin prick in it. If you don't want to buy airlocks. But anyway, so that's what we're going to do. Pretty straightforward. But it looks like everything's working. Right, I watered down the pear just slightly and then added some more of the yeast to it, and it's starting to bubble around the top, as you can see there. The bubbles aren't moving, but there are bubbles there. It's been on the windowsill, so we'll have to see if that starts fermenting. We'll have to see. But the apple juice is doing really well. It's kind of going kind of quite quickly, so we'll just kind of leave that until it stops boiling. So you can see how successful that is, because that's really kind of going kind of quite quick. And then the juice of the tinned apples, that's slowly fermenting as well. So probably not the best place on a windowsill, and it's wanting to focus on my flowers outside, well, my herbs. But there you go, that's fermenting as well. So we'll see what happens. Is that moving? Not really, but there we go. This is hopefully working.